Welcome back everyone. Thank you for joining me today. In today's video, I'm going to be taking you through a Yin Yoga practice. For this practice specifically, you'll want to grab, if you have a blanket, you can use a blanket, or if you have a towel, that will do as well. Also, I like to use a couch cushion as a bolster. It is optional, but if you have pillows or a cushion, sometimes these things can help you just further more comfortable and to get comfortable into the poses that we'll be doing today. So to begin, if we can just sit cross-legged, we'll start just by grounding ourselves a bit and mentally preparing for today's practice. Just placing your hands on your knees, palms facing up, closing your eyes and just relaxing your shoulders, relaxing the muscles in the face. And let's just find your rhythm of breath today. So deep inhale through the nose, and then out through the nose as well. Feeling the rise of the belly on the inhale, and just releasing and letting go on the exhale. Good, just really focusing on that breath coming from down deep into the diaphragm. And we begin our first pose today. We go into a child's pose. So you'll want to bring yourself up onto all fours to start. Have your towel or your blanket handy in case you need a little bit extra support. We start by putting our toes together and letting our knees come about as wide as our mat. Shifting your weight back to your heels and just extending your arms facing forward and relaxing your head down. Now this is where your props can come in handy. If you're feeling that you're having trouble releasing the hips down to the heels, you can place a prop just underneath to add a little bit more comfort and to feel a little bit more grounded. As we go through our practice today, we'll be holding our poses for approximately 3 minutes or so. Within these 3 minutes, our goal is to find what we call in Yin Yoga your edge. We're looking to stretch to a point where there isn't any pain or discomfort, but there is a nice gentle pull. Just lift your forehead slightly up off the floor. Walk your hands all the way over to one side. We want to look for a bit of a deeper stretch in the side body here. Taking one hand in if you can and just stacking that one hand over top. This will allow for a deeper stretch in the side body. Relax the shoulders away from the ears and allow the hips to be heavy. Good. In Yin Yoga, what we're also focusing on is stillness. So once you feel that you've found what we call your edge, then we want to just surrender to the time and try to remain as still as we can. Focusing on your breath, really allowing your body to just be heavy and relax, and just surrender to each pose today. Let's slowly lift our foreheads and just move and make our way over to the opposite side. And just allow your mind to be clear. If you find that there's any noise or distractions going on, really just try to focus on your breath. Bring you back to center. And then just slowly bringing yourself back to the center. Good, and coming back up onto all fours, just removing that prop or a blanket or pillow. And we transition into what we call Sphinx pose. So from here, we're just going to bring ourselves down onto our bellies. And just letting the tops of your feet rest on your mat. And bringing your elbows so they're directly underneath your shoulders. Now, if you're feeling any discomfort in the lower back in this pose, there is an option to extend your arms a little bit forward to decrease the intensity in that lower back region. So holding this pose again for 3 minutes. We want to try to not allow our chin to drop down and block our airway. So from here, just relaxing the shoulders down away from the ears, letting the hips sink down, allowing the shoulders to be heavy. Hands are nice and light. And just looking straight ahead or closing your eyes. I want you to take today's practice and really just listen to your body and allow it to guide you through each and every one of these poses. Let your body tell you what it needs. So if you're feeling any restrictions, if there's any discomfort in the lower back right now, that's an indication that you want to move your hands just a little forward. You're still resting on those elbows. And really focusing on stillness and surrendering to the time. Opening your heart, focusing on your breath. Exhaling all negativity away from you. Really focusing on grounding yourself. And being aware. Through each of these poses, you want to try to just take a mental scan of what you're feeling. Is there anything tight? Is there any tension in a certain area? And really place your focus there today. Find your intention for each practice. Your intention may be gratitude. I'm grateful for being able to take this time out to just kind of recharge, reset, and renew. Allowing your mind and body to be still. Allowing your body to just sink into your mat here. And anytime you feel you just need to include a bit of a cleansing breath, feel free to take a nice deep inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. From here, let's just lower ourselves all the way down, bringing your right ear to your mat. Your hands are in a cactus position or bent at the elbows, bending at the knees. We're just going to windshield wiper side to side. Just take a bit of a recovery from that pose. Relax any tightness or tension that may have built up in the lower back region. And for our next pose, we're going into a bit of a shoulder opener. So you're going to stay lying flat. You're going to want to keep, again, your towel or your blanket handy. So let's start by extending the right arm out. Use your left hand just to very to use as a little bit of support. That right hand, your palm is facing down. I want you to slowly rotate to the right until you can feel a stretch in the front of the shoulder. Now from this position is where you're going to decide what props you need, if any, and the position of your leg. Initially what we want to aim for is for that left leg to bend and be flat on the floor behind us. And then our left arm will be up and down around behind our back. Now this is where, if you're comfortable, you can allow your head to rest on your mat. But if you find there's a little bit of discomfort there, that's where you can take your blanket or your pillow and add a little bit of extra support. You feel a little bit more compression in this pose, just directly onto the shoulder joint. And this is what we mean by our edge. There isn't any pain or discomfort, but there's definitely a good pull there. Breathe into that tightness. Find that edge and surrender to the stillness. Now as you hold these poses, as we hold for 3 minutes, it's usually a little bit more of a beginner's intensity level. But what we're looking for is if there's ever any openings, if there's an opening where we can maybe just rotate a little bit further, or maybe if you weren't able to bring your arm in behind your back to begin with, throughout the pose, you just experiment with that and see what feels comfortable. Again, allowing your body just to guide you through and to tell you what you need. Relax the muscles in the face. Again, feel free to close your eyes during these poses. Really try just to place that focus on you. Again, scanning the body in each pose. Good. And we just transition out of this pose by releasing that arm first, using it to support you, also bringing that left leg across, and we just rotate to the opposite side. So to begin, we start by extending the left leg out. Try not to go higher than the shoulder joint. It's either in line with the shoulder or a little bit lower. Use that right hand for support this time. Rotate to the right, or to the left, my apologies. Good. And then bending that right leg and placing the right foot flat on the floor. Allowing yourself to use a prop for any added comfort. And then extending the arm up and in behind the back. It's going to be very common to notice any differences as we go from an individual side. So my right side may need a little bit more tension or intensity than the left side, or vice versa. So again, just focusing on your intention for today's practice. Why are you here? What are you grateful for? What are you focusing on today? Maybe it's as little as just continuing and reminding yourself to breathe. And again, if you feel that maybe there's not that much of an edge anymore, that is the time for you to make any slight adjustments. Maybe just rotate a little bit further, open that chest a little bit more. Rotate a little bit more into that hip. Again, we're not looking for discomfort, we're just looking for a slight gentle pull. or push, or you feel a bit of compression right now in the shoulder joint. Slowly lifting that right arm, using it as support to return back to your center position. So lowering that right knee or leg down, and just very, very slowly come out of this pose. You may feel that the shoulder joint feels very stiff. Good. And relaxing. Good. That's just your body responding to that pose. Good. Excellent. So from here, we're going to actually bring ourselves up. So just very slowly bring yourself up. First off, into a seated position. And now this is where I'm actually going to use my couch cushion, or if you have a bolster, or if you have a nice big pillow. I like to really support myself on this pose because it's a really passive pose. We're really focusing on lengthening the hamstrings and stretching out the lower back. So I'm going to place my cushion or my bolster just right on top of my thighs. And it's just a very passive forward fold. So from here, I'm just hinging at my hip, allowing my rib cage and my chest to rest down, lengthening my arms out in front of me with my palms facing up. Now with my legs, if you feel that you have very tight hamstrings, feel free to put a slight bend. Another option you have is to actually elevate yourself up onto your towel. Okay, so that just allows for a little bit more of opening in the hips and a little bit more of a further hinge forward. So exhaling into your pose, finding your edge, and surrendering to stillness. Yin Yoga can be a very humbling experience for some. I have a lot of athletes that I work with, or a lot of clients that really find it difficult just to stop, just to be still, and just to slow down. But your rest is just as important as your work. I want to include a practice like this, or even if it's a stretching routine, or a little bit more of a Yang Yoga focused practice, just to benefit you in regards to increasing your flexibility, but also just recharging, renewing, being still, really getting to know your body. I'm trying to find a neutral spine in this position as well, so it's okay for the head to hang a little bit here. Feel a nice stretch through the back of the spine, the top of the spine. And try to create lots of width in that upper back. So again, it's a bit more of a passive fold, so we're not really focusing on trying to keep a straight spine. It's okay if it's rounded at the top here. Relax the shoulders, let the hands be heavy into the earth. Ground your legs. And feel a nice gentle pull in the back of the thighs. as possible, unless you're searching for that new edge. Slowly returning back to a seated position and just removing any props that you may have used in your last pose. We go into our next pose, which is called supported fish. So if you already were using that blanket or a towel as support for elevation, we're actually now going to use it for the same purpose, but a little bit more now in our upper back. So we're going into a supported fish pose. So whatever you have here, we want it to be something that's going to just gently elevate the chest. It's not going to be too high. Place the blanket on the top of your mat and allow your shoulder blades to rest on top of that blanket. This may take a little bit of playing around with. Find what's comfortable for you, what works for you first before settling into the pose. So the towel or the blanket is across the top of the shoulder blades, your arms are out to the side. You're going to let your head just rest down. So this is where you're going to notice if your towel or your blanket is too high, your head should be able to touch the floor. You don't want to have your neck suspended, your head suspended up in the air here. So let's start just with the arms out to the side, really just open our hearts and chest. Now if this creates any discomfort in your lower back, you're going to bend your knees and walk your feet a little bit closer to your hips. If there isn't any discomfort, and your body allows you to, you can extend your legs straight out in front of you. I really want you to try to surrender to this one. Really open up that chest. Nice deep breaths in and out. Good. I always like to just check in with myself every so often to where I place my hand on my belly and my hand on my heart. And I just want to feel each breath. On the inhale, feel the rise, and on the exhale, feel the descend. If you want to intensify a little bit, we can transition our arms up above our head, bringing our hands together, and try and allow our thumbs to stay in contact with the floor. And again, if that's uncomfortable, or maybe not available, just lower your arms back down or to a height that does feel comfortable. Never force yourself into a pose. Always just gradually intensify and then detensify if there's any pushback. it's available, allow yourself to walk your feet out slightly. And again, just experiment to see if you're able to just further that edge a little bit more. Same goes with the arms. If you're able to raise them up a little bit more, a little bit higher. Really create space in the rib cage here and open up that heart center. Just lower your arms down by the side. Good, bending your knees and just rolling to one side so that you're able to remove any props that may be behind you. We'll finish off today's practice with a few minutes of Savasana. So from here, just finding a very comfortable spot on your mat, and I want you to try and take up as much space as possible. So just extending the legs out, extending the arms out, move anything that may be in the way. Palms are facing up. And allowing your body to just fully surrender. Closing your eyes. Allowing the muscles around the eyes, the cheeks, and in the jaw to just relax and feel nice and heavy. Now just place the focus a little bit more on the muscles that surround the shoulders and the neck, the chest. Again, allow everything to just really be heavy and sink into the floor. Let those shoulders be grounded. There isn't any tension in your hands, are nice and relaxed. Feel the rise and fall of your belly. And move down to the hips. You want to sink right down into your mat. Almost as if you're leaving an imprint of your body. Feeling your legs getting heavier with each breath. Just fully relaxed. Allowing your feet to sway out to the side. And start to bring back awareness by wheeling our toes and our fingers very gently, very slowly. Maybe we begin to open our eyes. And when you're ready, just bringing your feet back into the center, bending your knees. And bringing yourself onto your left side, using your right arm as a bit of support and just resting your ear onto your bicep. Hold here just to regroup a little bit. Good, and again, once you're ready, just using the support of your arms to bring yourself back up into the seated position. Crossing your legs in the center, placing your hands on your thighs, on your knees, rolling those shoulders back. And I just want you to finish today's practice by just doing again one more mental scan of your body. At this point, I'm hoping that you feel a little bit more relaxed, a lot more open, and again, really what I would think would be grounded and recharged for the day. The yin practice can be practiced anywhere, anytime. Find when it's most beneficial for you. I'm going to finish today's practice with 2 cleansing breaths, to where we inhale through the nose and exhale with a little bit more extra force through an open mouth. So as we go, we inhale together. And one more time. We bring our hands together in the center and to our third eye. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you again soon.